SoCal Prep Report. You know, you do opens in broadcasting and you look forward to the start of a program, but this is one I don't look forward to talking about because we have to start with the passing of Angelo Gasca, the longtime football coach at Venice who had such great success. And it hurts because I knew the guy for so many years. 26 years the head coach of the Gondoliers, 10 years as the assistant. If you go way back, even before I was following prep football out here, Angelo was a terrific quarterback for the Gondoliers. He was community in that area. And that's a part of broadcasting we have to do. We have to deliver sometimes some negative news, and certainly this is a sad time for everybody who knew Angelo, who was a great guy. Tarek, I know you didn't know him quite as well as I did. I go back farther with Angelo. This is a huge loss for the community, obviously for his family, and certainly for city football.
You know, I could argue that maybe one of the best nicknames in life is coach. Any coach would tell you that. You don't have to call me by my last name, my first name, but being called coach is a lifetime nickname. And so Gasca was a coach to so many, not just players, but maybe students and coaching people through life, young people. So clearly he had a heart for young people and he served that community for a long time. And it's not until someone leaves that you realize the impact they made. And so he certainly coached a lot of young people, and so he will be missed.
Yeah, he loved to teach his student athletes, and again, we will miss him. All right, let's turn our attention to basketball at the prep level. The state finals were held in Sacramento. Tarek was part of that. He broadcast a number of these games. And we'll start with Sierra Canyon, 78-70 over Salesian of Richmond. Sierra Canyon was in control, but what caught my eye is early in the game, Maxie Adams, Sierra Canyon star player, got injured. So was that lingering doubt, is Sierra Canyon going to win without one of their stars?
Maxie Adams rolls his ankle 5 minutes in, and Salesian goes up 9 in the first quarter. And everyone's thinking, could big bad Sierra Canyon go down? Oh no, not like this. Maxie Adams does not return. McDonald's All-American, as you alluded to, North Carolina commit, major player. So there's this stretch where you're not sure what's going to happen. Well, off the bench comes Stephen Cancoli, who hits 3 threes. And basically, if I could put this in a nutshell, they lose their star player, and Stephen Cancoli bridges the gap between realizing we don't have our star player anymore and the press starting to work. They start turning over Salesian. They start getting easy buckets. Everyone's pitching in, and Stephen Cancoli bridged that gap. Brandon McCoy, who's a 5-star All-American himself, led the way, 20 points, I think 4 blocks, 3 steals. But Andre Chevalier's coaching really came to the surface by this mixed bag of transfers, and they ended up winning another state championship.
And we've said it all year, Sierra Canyon had depth, and that bench really stepped up.
Yeah, I mean, they rotate 9 guys, legit 9 guys. It's not charity on the 8th and 9th guy. They're all good. And there's 3 sophomores that stood out: Jordan Mize, J.J. Sati-Greer, and Josh Lowry. Big minutes, big games, especially Sati-Greer. I think he had 11 points, 10 assists off the bench, the little point guard. So, man, everyone pitched in, and I believe it was the epitome of a team win.
Last thought on Sierra Canyon. Do we appreciate them enough? They've won 5 state titles over the years, 3 in the open division, which is a relatively new division, the highest division. Do we appreciate them enough?
Yeah, I think so. I think people want to write them off because they do have the way. By the way, I think it's the way of the world. I don't think you can poo-poo on it anymore. They live by the transfer. I mean, that's how they build their teams. It's like going and doing the transfer portal in college. Some programs embrace that, some don't like it. There's different ways to the top of the mountain. So it gets written off, but I do think they're appreciated because there's a lot of talent. First ever program to win 3 Open Division state championships.
D1, another SoCal team prevailed. Damien, I love this Damien team. I saw them earlier in the year. And they got fueled by a 10-0 run early in the third quarter. Folsom's a pretty good team, but Damien is so well coached. I think you talk about coaches of the year later in the program. We'll get to that. Mike LeDuc's got to be in the conversation. His teams just don't miss a beat. they're just so precise.
Certainly Coach of the Year candidate, and I think if you look at the teams they took down en route to the state championship, they beat a good Crespi team on the road. They go to St. John Bosco and take down Christian Collins, McDonald's All-American, on the road. And then they defend at home. They beat Crean Lutheran, who won the Division I section title. So that is a juggernaut schedule. Then they have to travel up north with very little notice, right? You win on a Tuesday, and you got to be up for the final on a Friday in Sacramento. So logistically and fatigue sets in, you find a way to still win. Eli Gardner, Elijah Smith, really, really good players, and LeDuc gets another championship.
Yeah, Elijah Smith really stepped up in this tournament. He scored big for them down the stretch. He was a key guy handling the pressure with the guard position. He's just a tremendous player. But again, for me, Mike LeDuc, over 1,000 wins in his career. Another guy we don't talk about a lot. We do a little bit on this program. I just think he's a sensational coach. All right, let's move ahead and go to boys Division II. This is a little bit different for us because these are two teams from outside of our area. SoCal is our area. These are northern division schools primarily, although Bakersfield's considered part of the southern section for this tournament. What a great game, though. You loved this game, didn't you?
Yeah, the coach for San Joaquin Memorial is a longtime coach, Brad Rognowski. And the guy, I think he's been the coach for like 15, 16 years. Good dude, well-coached team. The only thing I'll say about that game, those teams had played twice earlier in the season, and Bakersfield Christian won. So on the third time, San Joaquin Memorial gets them in the game that probably mattered most.
Here's one that hurts the city section. Cornerstone Christian over Birmingham. Patriots had a good run in the tournament, but they lose by 10. It really wasn't a great weekend for the city section.
Wow.
We'll get to that a little bit later in the program as well. But Cornerstone Christian knocks off the Patriots.
Yeah, Nick Halleck had a good team. I think, look, I'm not knocking the system. I think this is how it is, and that's, that it is what it is. But look, Birmingham didn't even win their league. They're in the city section, which isn't exactly a great product of basketball. And then they lost in their opening round of the Open Division playoffs. So for them to even just get to the state final in Division III is pretty remarkable, given that they really didn't have a great season. But I think that's a little bit more of an indicator of how this whole thing is set up.
The good news there for the Patriots and a lot of these city teams, they're young. Most of their stars are going to return.
Yes.
Phillips is a very good underclassman. He'll be back. I think they'll be pretty good next season again. Sacred Heart over a pretty good team from San Juan Hills, and another low-scoring, tight game, 47-45.
Yeah, this game, there was a Sacred Heart player. It was tied, 45-45, and the Sacred Heart player shot a three with what appeared to be no time left, gets fouled with 0.3 seconds left, makes 2 free throws, and Sacred Heart wins the state championship.
Well, I don't want to report this
Drama.
next game. That was drama. This one was not dramatic at all. And Sylmar, we're friends with Bordescoto, and his team had a marvelous run, another city team. But they just didn't defend in the second half. They lose 89-64. It was a layup drill for San Marin.
Too many layups.
And layup after layup after layup. And I know Robert Wynn's a tremendous underclassman, scored 27 points for the Spartans, but not enough.
Wynn was probably the best player on the floor. Bordescoto told me that in the middle of the year, Sylmar, I think it was like 6-11. He changes their offense, and they do this LMU kind of run and gun. It worked out. They won a city title. They get to the state championship. And when you're pressing and playing that helter-skelter game, you're going to give up some layups for the, in sacrifice for the pace of the game that you think is going to favor you. But man, you nailed it. It was too many uncontested easy buckets, and so it just caught up to them. It was close. It was close at halftime, close in the early third quarter, and then San Marin took over.
That was not the case on the ladies' side. We had a dramatic, tight game in the Open Division. No surprise, two of the best teams in the country, but led by Kalina Smith's 24 points. Ontario Christian gets by Archbishop Mitty for the second time this year. The first game was a high-scoring game. This one was 56-49.
Yeah, first time they played was like early December, and Kalina Smith had 50 points, double overtime win. So everyone was anticipating this final. Archbishop Mitty has a 5-star McDonald's All-American in McKenna Wilichko. She's going to Iowa. So it was like Wilichko versus Smith. Let's see it for all the marbles. And Kalina Smith was the best player on the floor. Wilichko was great in her own right. But really fun game. Probably the best game of the weekend was that girls' game.
Should they be, Ontario Christian, the national champion?
So that game pretty much got labeled the national championship game. As we all know, they're like mythical national championships, but I think Ontario Christian was basically 1 or 2 all year long. They had a couple hiccups. It's going to happen. And, one being the Sierra Canyon in the section final. But that being said, I do think they're deserving of the national championship, yes.
D1 on the ladies' side, another Southern California team prevailed, Corona Centennial. They are loaded with talent. The fact that Clovis kept it close tells me they're very good, because Centennial, this Corona team, is tremendous.
So Corona Centennial is led by McDonald's All-American, Sydney Bryant, younger sister of Carter Bryant, who's in the NBA, plays for the Spurs, so on and so forth. And Sydney was great, man. Rebounding, shooting threes, making plays, but there was this great high-low action between her and sophomore Sydney Douglas, who's a 6'7" post and a transfer from Ontario Christian. So they were working together in tandem. The guard play was good. Great game. The Huskies won a championship.
Sierra Pacific won a championship, so some of those teams from up north won in the lower divisions, knocking off St. Joseph of Santa Maria 56-47. They lost, Sierra Pacific, their first 6 games this year. The Golden Bears, if you can believe that, lose their first 6, storm all the way back to win a state title.
Yeah, it's remarkable. I think, anytime you get to a state final, there is some journey. Look, even Sierra Canyon 30-1, they had their tough games, their injuries, whatever. The toughness of the season, or the anything that makes it hard during the season, the resiliency of the season isn't always tested by losses. But stories are great, and to lift a state championship after any type of challenges is a good thing.
Delaney Shireen, she hit the big shot. She scores the most points for El Dorado. She's the difference in a win over Valley Christian, 42-40.
Yeah, Valley Christian had this one guard, Namura, I believe her name was. She scored all their points in the third quarter. She might have been the best player on the floor, but Shearing is the one who was making the winning plays at the end, and El Dorado squeaks by, wins a state championship.
Palisades, the third city team, got knocked
Came
off.
Up short, huh?
Yeah, Faith Christian was the better team. They won the game 51-37. What caught my eye in this one, this is the 4th game for Faith Christian in that building this year. That's a tremendous advantage.
Faith Christian had a young lady going to Long Beach State. I'm drawing a blank on her name unless
Lauren
you know.
Harris.
Lauren Harris. She hit a half-court shot, and she's the national record holder for 3-pointers made in a career for high school. This girl could play. So Palisades certainly was outmatched, although it was close in the first half, just didn't have the horses to finish out the game. Last ad, Palisades, what a great story, given what the community's dealt with the past year with the fires and everything. To get to the state title game, what a remarkable story the Dolphins had.
I have Lauren Harris's numbers right here. 28 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 blocks.
Yeah. Just another day in the office.
And her dad's the coach.
Yeah, unreal. She's really, really talented. And again, going to Long Beach State, so that's probably a great level for her.
All right, the final division we want to talk about in basketball goes to Woodland Christian 63-30 over Laguna Hills. This is one of the first games of the weekend, and it wasn't very competitive.
Yeah, the Sorbella twins, or they're not twins, but they're sisters on Woodland Christian. The coach their dad is the coach, and it was their 2nd straight state final. I'm drawing a blank on if they won the first time around, but they had experience. The girls were good. It was not a close game. I was on the call for that one, and it became a snoozer pretty quick.
You were able to get through it, though.
We did survive, yes.
How about some state soccer championship matches? Some of the key games, because a lot of these matches didn't involve Southern California teams, but boys D1 did, and Mater Dei over Everett Alvarez 2-1. We'll go through these fairly rapidly. In Division 3, we had Los Alamitos over Watsonville, so another SoCal team gets a W. Here, Branson in D5 over Garfield. Here's, again, a city representative. Again, we've said it in the past, soccer in the city is really good, but Branson, which is known for volleyball, they've won a lot of state championships in volleyball. They win here 2-0. You like this Branson team,
Branson might be like 60, 70 grand a year.
It's that expensive?
Oh, it's like the Harvard Westlake of the North. Go ahead. Continue.
All right. I like that. Okay.
I'm just letting you know how much it costs to go there.
Well, Branson, well, paid off, literally. 2-0. Girls, Mater Dei again. Here's another story with Mater Dei. They win the girls' championship over Bishop O'Dowd 2-0. So the Mater Dei boys and girls, well, we've had our emphasis on basketball all year.
Sure.
They don't lose very many matches, either the boys or the girls. And Mater Dei sweeps and wins the state in both.
Yeah, pretty cool. I mean, look, in in basketball, that's only happened at the highest level, I think, twice. Modern day boys and girls did it like 2014, 15, something like that. And then Sierra Canyon boys and girls did it in 2019. So it's rare to see two state champions at the highest level in any sport, let alone soccer. Soccer is like, it takes a little, sometimes, you could have a 0-0 draw for forever and someone scores in stoppage time. The best team doesn't always win in soccer.
And here's the last soccer match we want to talk about in the state revolving SoCal. Westlake from Ventura County lost to San Ramon Valley 1-0. Obviously a close match, but Westlake comes up a little short.
I think overall this was the inaugural year for CIF state soccer championships. I think everyone was pleased. Nothing wrong with having state championships, so good on the CIF and good for soccer.
All right, let's jump back into the basketball arena. I want to get Tarek's take on some of these thoughts. First off, and we mentioned it, I billboarded this for everyone, City loses all three opportunities to win the state. Your thoughts on the City coming up short?
Yeah, not surprising. It's look, and people want to knock me. It's not great basketball. You certainly have your good players,
but they got there.
But they got there. I think if you really have to look at it, I would argue that it's really the powers that be at the City section that when the sections get on the phone and talk about where their teams should be seated for the state playoffs, to get their teams in like Division 2, 3, 4, and 5 gives those teams the best chance. Palisades won the boys open division city championship. Somehow they were in the D2 state playoffs. That is a significant drop. They were one win away from getting to the boys Division 2 state final. That's because if they're in Division 1 or the open, they're probably not even getting out of the first round. So something to think about.
Here's another negative from the state tournament. They only had just over 11,000 people for the 2 days.
Yeah.
So you know my thoughts. I think these games should be in high school arenas for a couple of reasons. One, the arena, the shooting, depth perception, all that stuff. And if you're not drawing fans, why you're in the big arena? I get that everyone wants the
experience,
kids want the experience of playing in the NBA arena, but only 11,000 plus?
Yeah, I can't give numbers, but the CIF state gets a great deal for using that arena. So in their eyes, I'm sure it's why not. If it's not costing you an arm and a leg and you're getting a deal on it, I think it is good to keep it there.
All right, let's get Tarek's take on a few other things. I love picking his brain in prep basketball because that's his main job, although he covers a lot of sports. He has a lot of jobs. We talk about that repeatedly every week. I don't know how many jobs he has now. Let's talk about who in your mind is the top player of the year, boys and girls.
For boys, I will you want like a name or like
a
short list?
One good name.
One name?
I don't need a whole list.
I would say, my player of the year, I'll give a little spoiler, is probably going to be Jason Crow Jr.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, it's just given, sometimes you got to have perspective when choosing this, and what he accomplished scoring more than 4,000 points, no one's going to touch that. When he broke when Tunde Yesufu broke the all-time scoring record for California last season as a senior, it took 21 years. Then Jason Crow Jr. comes along and has it by more than about 1,000 points now. No one's going to come, unless a rule changes like a 4-point basket or you can play 40 games in a season, no one's going to catch that. So given that he accomplished that, it's just, the guy averaged like 46 points a game. They did have a good year, got to the Division I semifinals, that's fantastic. So I think what he did for his team, what he did for himself, the history that he made for me, he's the player of the year. And the girls is really easy, Kalina Smith.
Okay, let's go back to Crow. I think it makes it a little easier points-wise. Terrific player, totally agree. I would have picked Jason Crow Jr. A little easier that Dad gives him the green light every game.
Yeah, no,
that helps.
There's no question about that. Dad's at the helm with the coaching, but they do win games.
They do win.
You gotta it's not like they stink and he's out here dropping 50. They win games. They've beaten quality opponents. And then push comes to shove, they get deeper into the playoffs, just like anybody else, and they've lost, and that's fine. That's basketball.
Coach of the year, girls and boys, hoops.
Yeah, for boys, I'd have to think about that. I'll give you two names. I think Coach LeDuc at Damien is certainly qualified. I do think Andre Chevalier probably gets a little credit for morphing all the cooks in the kitchen to produce, one bad meal per se in regards to winning the state championship. For the girls, I think it's Andre Cummings, Ontario Christian. I mean, he's just won the Naismith National Coach of the Year, so it makes a lot of sense for him to be the guy.
I like Mike LaDuca, Damien. I think I expressed that earlier in the show. And I got to give another shout out to Borda Scoto, because you said he changed the style.
Yeah.
Sylmar didn't win a state title, but they did win a city title. And they were bad early in the year. And by his style change, going from slow to the rapid pace, like you said, like LMU, to turn the season around like that and get to Sacramento, got to give Bord a lot of credit. All right, is there a freshman in either boys or girls? And I don't know. I haven't thought this one out.
Yeah.
Is there a freshman that comes to mind?
Yeah, it's going to be Will Conroy Jr., the Village Christian point guard, freshman. I think he averaged something like 28 points per game. He led Village Christian deep into the Division I playoffs. They won their league championship. Shoot, I got to look. He might have been the Olympic League MVP as a freshman. I mean, he's just a standout player. Julian Andrade, the coach, knows, like, man, someone's going to come along and probably poach that kid. I don't know if he'll be at Village Christian for his whole career, but that's, for me, the freshman of the year on the boys. For the girls, it might have to be Chloe Jenkins. She was unable to play in the state final for Ontario Christian, but she's a standout freshman that averages 15 points and 11 rebounds per game. So, and for Ontario Christian. So, and she certainly helped them this year.
Pretty good, because I didn't see her play all year long, and that's just a case of the rich getting richer, because, again, Ontario Christian is going to be a powerhouse next year.
Yes, they will.
Speaking of Christian Collins from St. John Bosco has selected USC. He picked the Trojans, and this is a very good basketball player, five-star player. It was great for the Braves all season long, over Kentucky and Louisville.
Yeah, I mean, money talks, man. No, I'm kidding. Listen, Christian, first off, coup to Eric Musselman. Second year in a row, he's gotten a backyard five-star All-American. Last year it was Elijah Arenas. Right. This year it's Christian Collins. Kudos to Eric Musselman. It's also his third McDonald's All-American. A lot of people don't, not that they don't know, but if you don't follow it, remember Theo Ratliff? Mm-hmm. His twin sons are 2 7-footers committed to USC. They're also McDonald's All-Americans. So he's got 3 McDonald's All-Americans in this next class. And I think, I don't know if Elijah Arenas is going to leave. I actually think he's a lottery pick right now, but maybe he wants to come back and play a little college ball more. Now that the money is in college, there's no reason to leave. There's no sense of urgency. Not saying that there's no reason to leave. So USC might really, really have a nice squad. They need a point guard, and I think Musselman will go get that in the portal.
Yeah, Musselman can recruit. There's never been an issue about that wherever he's been, whether it's at Nevada or Arkansas. He always gets players. All right, John Pillar, speaking of coaches, was a long-time coach, 17 years out at Calabasas, always good teams in the Marmoni League. Pillar's steps down.
Yeah, decides, I don't know all the details, but a guy that's been doing it a long time and at a really high level. Used to be the coach at Campbell Hall. He's been the coach at Chaminade, and then he's been at Calabasas. I think it's his second stint at I want to say it's like 17 years over a couple stints. But that being said, he's always had winning teams for the most part, competitive, good players, sent kids to college, and has his teams prepared. So kudos to him. I don't think it's his last time coaching. I think we'll see him coach again here in the next couple years.
All right, give me a team for boys and girls who will be the team to beat next year.
Yeah, like a way too early kind of top teams to watch.
Way too early.
Yeah, I think Sierra Canyon returns a lot. And you know that they're going to add players. So look for Sierra Canyon to be really, really good for the boys. And low-hanging fruit, I don't think anyone's beating Ontario Christian. Literally, the whole team comes back again.
Yeah, they're going to win it next year.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little baseball. They had some high school games.
This is cool, man. I didn't even know about this.
For the Halos out at Angel Stadium, let's go through these scores. Kennedy of La Palma over Norwalk, 8-5.
Classic.
I like the graphic package.
Very nice.
Paraclete had a 15-run third inning.
Whoa.
Rim of the World fell off the edge. They got murdered here.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, defense optional, huh?
Yeah, very optional. Let's see what we got next. Mayfair over Garden Grove, 6-1. Just think it's great that these kids, we talk about playing in the big stadiums. I don't really like it, but I think during the regular year, this is a pretty cool idea out at Angel Stadium. Westlake over Warren, 2-0. Two pretty good programs there. Westlake gets that W. Garfield from the city, city winner, getting past Whittier Christian 4-1. And Laguna Beach over Costa Mesa, Orange County bout there, 5-3 in that one. A lot of good games being played, including the Brea Olinda El Modena game, 2-1.
Yeah, I think for the most part we see a score here.
I don't want to talk about
that
that.
one. Didn't. That one probably wasn't very competitive. But nevertheless, I think anytime, we talked about this with the Golden One Center up in Sacramento. Anytime you can get young kids into a pro or high-level college atmosphere, playing their sport, give them that experience, I think it's worth doing. It's unlikely they'll ever get to do it again.
All right, we got some upcoming games because this Halo Classic runs for a while. You can see it's Monday, March 23rd there, which is Monday. Wilson from Long Beach.
Is this like a tournament? Like, is there a winner at the end? No, it's just kind of like a showcase?
It's a showcase.
All right. Okay,
Alhambra, South Pasadena. I like this. I like the fact that we got these guys in here.
Look at
Knight
from Palmdale.
That's all the way out there. Where's Paul George, right? That's
yeah.
Knight, right? Diamond Bar, Tuesday, March 24th. I like the fact that we have this. Knight again? No, well, only once. Estancia Upland on Tuesday, March 24th. I think we got one or two more here. Oakwood and Hoover. Bloomington Rancho Verde. Beckman Irvine. Maybe I sold it short here. We got more than that. Newport Harbor, Trabuco Hills.
I'm looking at the dates.
This
is like this is going. Okay, so this series. Okay, so I'm looking at these dates. I mean, these games are April 13th. So this seems to be some type of. This is the first time I'm actually seeing about this. So this seems to be some type of arrangement. We can keep cycling through the games. Okay, I was gonna say this seems to be some type of arrangement where there's a commitment for these teams to play at Angel Stadium, like almost like throughout the year or like in a span of a month. I think it's really, really cool.
See, Larry found that. Larry Zaval, our producer. That's good digging up there because we did not see that one. That
really
one got
cool.
past us a little bit.
I think it seems to be the first of its kind. I don't know if they've ever done that before. That's news to me. Maybe they have, but maybe over time they start to get some bigger schools in there.
Right. Well, they got some pretty good ones, but you're right. You'd like to see Huntington Beach.
Oh, it'd be
from
great
out
to
there.
see some Trinity League
Notre
or Mission
Dame.
League teams in
I
there.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd sell some tickets. I'm not, not saying that they're not now, but you'd certainly sell more.
City Baseball, Bell and Birmingham, we think are the two best teams. But here's a shout out for Monroe, the Vikings. They're 10-0. Now, we don't talk a lot about Monroe.
No.
In the middle of the San Fernando Valley, their sports teams have not been great even in the city in years to come. Luis Martinez is hitting close to 500 with a couple homers already. And this team scores double-digit runs every game, it appears. One game they had 25.
Yeah, I haven't looked at their schedule and who they're playing. That's and there's something to be said about beating teams you should, and that's fine. I'd like to see who they're playing, and then I'll make an assessment there. But maybe we're looking at an open division team if they keep if they keep this up. Again, the strength of schedule is very important, but at the very least, they'll be in Division I. I can almost guarantee you that.
What did we learn from Miami of Ohio? You win 31 straight games in basketball, you go to the NCAA tournament, and they win a game. Okay, here's a simple case for Monroe. If they keep winning, you got to put them at the highest division.
Yeah, that's true.
I think they got to be. Again, I don't know if they're going to continue to win, but their run production is off the charts.
They could get, I don't know, it's kind of a lack of a better term, they could get plagued by their success, where it's like, hey, you're 27-2, like you're getting thrown in there. But that might only earn them like the 6, 7, or the 8 seed. So they're not going to be like a top seed if they do make the Open. There's no chance.
But we did want to give them a shout out because the 10-0 start is really great. Also, the Mission League in prep baseball is producing wonderful results already. I know Notre Dame Sherman Oaks is good. Chaminade, Alamany,
Harvard Westlake, Sierra Canyon.
I mean, you go on and on. Your thoughts on the Mission League? Yeah. Because we talk about them in basketball. They're great in baseball.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, Harvard Westlake and Notre Dame are the teams to beat. However, like Alamany just beat Harvard Westlake this week, in a 3-game series. So anything can happen. It just goes to show you top to bottom how good the league is.
Well, this is our last show for a while. We're going to take a little bit of a break. I think we're going to come back May 7th, and we'll return, and then we'll have more on baseball and softball. Those will be some good stuff there. Tarek's been a lot of fun during the basketball season. I know it's kind of a downer for you with basketball ending, correct?
Not necessarily. I'm going to have more time on the golf course.
Yeah, more time with your kids.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I kind of shut it down for like 3 weeks a month. Not to say I won't work, but I won't get out too much. I try and kind of recalibrate, refresh, and then full sprint from probably the last third of the regular season in baseball through the playoffs, get to Arcadia Invitational track, see who's running the fastest, throwing the hardest, so on and so forth, and then everything wraps up usually like that last week of May, early June.
That's it for SoCal Prep Report for today. And again, we're going to go out remembering a great man, Venice's Angelo Gasca. We'll see you down the road.